thing I noticed about the book of Acts too, and this is a conversation we've had a lot lately, and however you want to say it, what are you hitching your truck to, or what are what tables are you sitting at, who are you keeping company with? I even notice the apostles at times, even when friends, Paul sent home John Mark.
Yeah.
Peter got a little sideways with Gentiles. Paul went to, there was some of this, and then there was times that God divided. I think there's some principle in there about being apostolic, is the fact that there's some relationships you can't keep and they need to go away. Some for me, being an apostolic principle, one of the things that I've understood about people is some people are seasonal and some people are lifetime.
Yeah.
And and the rejection of it is very difficult. Paul said he must have forsaken me, having loved this present world, and it's been preached multiple times. He left God, he didn't leave Paul. But the bottom line is that relationship had to be severed, and it seems more like Demas did it than Paul. I think all of us struggle with that, and I don't know how you guys feel about that principle, but when people cease to be apostolic, and we talk about these principles and being obedient and lifestyle and living one way at the church and somewhere other way on vacation, those are the people, I feel like it is apostolic that you may try to confront, but ultimately if they won't listen, you separate yourself. And so I think one thing that we've lacked in the apostolic church is if we really, if we had the prophets like when Samuel was coming, he said, "Hey, you coming in peace?"
Yeah.
There's this thing now, and I think it runs in our fellowship, and I'm not here to say what that is or bash anything, but it's called happy talk. If something is not right, you can't say anything, and therefore, or at least say, "Hey, I think we missed it here. Hey, this isn't on the message. Hey, this is an issue," and because we want happy talk. It's the old thing of everything's got to be happy. Well, wasn't that a great meeting? Wasn't that apostolic? Aren't they awesome? And not to be critical, but I've got to be very careful what I'm hitching my wagon to. I've got to be very careful if God has someone that's seasonal for my life and I'm trying to make it forever. And, I hope most of my friends are lifetime friends, but at 55, I'm realizing there's a lot of people that are seasonal and there's very few that are lifetime.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you felt about apostolic principle as far as, what you allow, or what that principle looks like.
Well, I say it somewhat facetiously, but I look around my life on a nearly daily basis trying to figure out who I'm going to cut off next. Because I want to go to heaven.
Yes.
And one day, I don't know, maybe in 2020, I was praying and just listening to the Lord that day, and the Lord spoke to me. He said, "You know what one of the toughest obstacles for me to work around to get the church to do what it's supposed to do is?" I said, "No." He said, "Good guys." He said, "You allow them to be influencers in your life. You give them authority in your life because they're a good guy. But you don't do it based on the merit of are they an apostolic. So when you as an apostolic submit yourself to someone that's not an apostolic, and you submit yourself to their authority in your life, well, guess what you've just done? You've surrendered apostolic requirements now to carnal authority. And then you put these people in places of influence in your life and whatever all's going on around you, And because they're a good guy, you want to address stuff, you won't say things because you don't want to hurt their feelings, you don't want to drive a wedge, you're trying to be a bridge builder. And he said, you're trying to be a bridge builder, and I was a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look nothing like me. Now I'm with, you know.
God's trying to burn the bridge, and we're trying to
build
it.
one.
Yeah. And it just doesn't affect us. It affects our churches.
Everything.
It affects our marriages. It
Yes.
affects our children and our grandchildren. You know, and I just think, you know, there are people, like I said. I mean, the church. You know, you look at Paul mentioning like Alexander the coppersmith, and you know, people that were connected, and they had to be severed.
Yes.
They had to be cut off, and we don't like doing that. But that is very apostolic to say, look, you're seasonal. You know, you've went off. You know, you're not doing what you need to do, and you know, and that becomes very hard. And like I said, I'm not here to do anything, but we hold a card with a certain organization, and people think that you have to fellowship that just because they hold the same card you do. Doesn't mean they're from the same lineage and line and ideas, you know. And so I'm not looking. I don't look down at anybody. It's just I don't want to connect my wagon to that.
I'm not going to open my spirit up to anybody that's not going the same direction I'm going.
Yeah.
We don't have to be on the same page.
Yeah.
We don't have to be at the same spot in the race. But if we're not going the same direction, and I'm going to tell you something, if a person's going to be an apostolic, you can't sit around waiting on God to sever people out of your life. Paul did it.
Oh, he
Paul
did.
makes it really plain. Mark them.
Markham.
Yeah.
Drive them out.
Yeah. Yes.
And, you know, the responsibility falls on our shoulders, and because we don't like making hard decisions and hard choices, and because we're image conscious and we want everybody to like us,
Yeah.
we won't make the hard call. And as a result of that, you let something stay in your life today that's a gecko lizard, tomorrow it'll be a fire-breathing dragon. Bishop Lashley made a statement to me, maybe 20 years ago, that I've never forgotten, and I hope I don't. But he said the enemy is smart, and he knows how to get stuff in your life. And he has made sin humorous and the sinners funny, or the lost funny. Because he said the enemy found out that what we will laugh at and with today, we'll lay down with tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh. And I hear it all the time. Well, you need every kind of person in your life. You need people in your life that
diversity.
you don't agree with. You need diversity. No, the scripture, that's so non-biblical, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
How can two walk together lest they be agreed?
Yeah.
How do I have a carnal person in my life, justifiably, that don't want to be an apostolic when I'm trying to be one? How do you biblically harness yourself up to somebody that's going that direction and you're going that direction?
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
That's why the church can't reach anybody. I thought it was interesting what you said, what you quoted Romans 16, a little bit of that said, mark those that cause division and offenses. But notice he's speaking to the church. He said, salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ salute you. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark those which cause division and offenses contrary to their doctrine. And he goes on, he said, for they serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own bellies by good words, fair speeches, to deceive the hearts of the simple.
Yeah.
And he said, for your obedience has come abroad to all men. I'm glad therefore on your behalf. But yet I would have you wise unto that which is good, and simple concerning evil. And the God of peace shall bruise Satan under your feet shortly. To me, what that gets connected there, the obedience is to mark those and leave those behind that are causing division and offenses.
Yeah.
And it's one way of putting Satan under your feet, you know. So I just thought when you mentioned that, I just thought, you know, that's, to me, that's part of the.
Well, and let's not forget, that's how you treat the morons. Well, sorry. That's That's how you treat.
Cut.
So we want to edit that. But that's how you treat those who are causing division in the body.
Yes.
Go to Philippians and see how to treat the people who are supposed to stay in the body. Paul said, treat everyone as being better than yourself. So if we're walking the same road together and this guy just came into the kingdom, I've got to treat him just like I would treat this guy that's been an elder for 70 years.
Yeah.
I've got to treat everybody around me, make everybody better than you. Don't expect people to elevate you. Paul said, you elevate everybody around you, make everybody, treat them as though they are royalty, treat them as being better than yourself.
Mm.
Well, I mean, that's part of being an apostolic. You got to treat these people aggressively this direction, but I got to treat these people that are harnessed up with me aggressively this direction.
Yeah.
I got to drive you out and I got to lift you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's two sides of that coin as far as I can tell.
Well, that's going to keep you walking the straight path too. I mean, if you're cutting the right people out and you're lifting up the wrong people out and lifting up the right people in your life, it's gonna keep.
Think about who you try to keep in your life. Just think about it. What group, what category do those people fit in? The people you work really, well, they're my friend. That's a straight up lie. We keep people in our life that make our life better. We keep people in our life that give something back to us.
Yeah.
The people we don't really pay a lot of attention to are the ones that need something from us. We don't fight to keep people in our lives that need us like a new convert does or somebody that's coming into the kingdom does. We're not worried about whether they're at church or not. But we're worried about this one over here because they make my life better. Why weren't you at church?
Yeah.
Where were you at?
Yeah, because we go out to eat after church or, you know, yeah. Man, that's good. You know, you talk about division, and years ago I preached a message, and anyways, my good friend that's went on to be with the Lord, he started writing it down. But one of the principles is, see, I don't think we understand really what you know, if you have a division in truth or a division in your spirit or whatever that comes, or if someone is divided, you know, double-minded, unstable in all their ways. To me, when Solomon took the baby and he said, divide it, you know, we think division is a small thing, but the mother understood what division means. Division means death. And people that cause division, people that divide your affections towards God and those things, it's death. It's death. So I look at some of that, and I think being apostolic is understanding to some of those relationships and being willing to, like you said, lift some up and have some exit, and welcome someone new into my life. I mean, there's people that, I mean, we're close to the same age, and we never connected till about 5 years ago. It was a God connection, you know. And so some things, sometimes it's seasonal. God has a purpose and a plan. But with you coming in my life, there's also people that's exited my life. And so I want to make sure I'm not divided in who God wants me to be and who he places in my life. Either we believe this or not. Deep calleth deep, and iron sharpens iron. And God puts new people in your life to sharpen that, but you can't continually fill your life with that stuff. You got to decide what's my real desire. And I just want to be around people that want to be apostolic or pursuing after God, the things of the Spirit. And, you know, if I can get a handle on that, everything else works itself out. But I think it's definitely who you're around and who you're with.
Man, I'll just say, because I've had it said to me a lot over the years when I have either cut people off, you know, not aggressively, but aggressively enough that they got the point. Doing that for your own salvation is not being intolerant.
Yes. or for the salvation of your family.
Yeah.
I'm intolerant.
That word gets thrown around in a negative connotation
I'm intolerant.
all the time. But
I'm not going to tolerate stupidity.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean.
Cut that out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Edit.
It gets thrown around a lot that you're
Yeah.
being
And judgmental.
Yeah.
And all those code words for you accept me as I am, keep me in your life, let me say and do what I want to do around you, your kids, let me bring my carnal nature, you know.
But the book says, a righteous man judgeth all things.
all things.
Yeah.
I heard, there was a powerful message preached in our movement a few years ago, and it was, the basis of it was, and it was even said in the message, you know, we've labeled people liberal, conservative, company man, all these different things that we put labels, and, you know, rather than us, you know, being so aggressive toward one another or hating one another, why can't we all get along?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and conviction fell on the movement or whatever for this at this point in time. Bill Shelton and I talked a lot about this as well. What was failed to be said in the whole deal, in the whole setting was, here's the line. This is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we believe. These are the apostolic principles that we hold. You know, we don't want division. We don't want to argue with each other. We don't want to bicker with each other. But if we all all meet the line or on this line, then that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to move over here just so I can appease somebody else. I mean, that becomes dangerous for me and my family, like you said.
Yeah.
There's got to be a line. This is who we are. This is what we believe. This is what we stand for, and we're not going to move that line for anybody.
And there's a time when we were homogenous, so the difference was about like that.
Yeah.
So the difference in what people believed in this, and some a little more spiritual, some afraid of the gifts of spirit, but the message and everything else was pretty close. You know, now it's here,
line.
and so are you telling me I'm gonna have to, you know, I mean, agree with either one of these way out factions? No, I'm gonna live right here. And if that goes out there, I'm still my fellowship range. You know, when you talk about the line, my fellowship range is like this.
Yeah.
My fellowship range is not like
gonna be
this.
like
When people get outside one of these, then
I'm not going there.
I'm not going there.
That makes me intolerant. So be it.